image of Leeds as a prosperous city is well documented, and commentators pay tribute to the success Leeds has enjoyed in recent decades. However, Leeds is also a two-speed city. Over 20% of electoral wards are recognised as being amongst the most deprived in the whole of England. Services, particularly financial services, which are enjoyed by the vast majority of Leeds citizens, are not taken for granted in these deprived communities.
I had my son when I was 18, so I was a single parent from day one. I had to stop working, so obviously to stay at home and look after my son. It was then that I got into a lot of trouble financially. At one point I was over £10,000 in debt, and that were loans, catalogues, because it was so easy to get credit. And they didn't say no. When the doorstep lenders came round, if I didn't have the money, then the interests were going up higher and they were intimidating. It wasn't the first time that I've had to hide when they've knocked on the door, and it's been two big burly blokes and it were really intimidating, and it scared me sometimes. And even my son, when he was younger, he used to go shh if somebody knocked on the front door, because I only used the back one for friends and things, so it wasn't a very nice time. I started working, it was just a part-time job, and I needed childcare for my son, and I accessed Parklands Children's Centre. I wasn't very confident when I first started going there, and I didn't want people knowing my business, but I built up relationships with the staff there, and then it was then that I could talk to a particular member of staff and I let her know what was going on. So it took me a while to get to go and actually say, look, I'm in debt, help me. But I did access Shore Start, and they put me onto credit union, and I went to see a financial advisor. I learned a bit more about Shore Start, and they were taking people on at the time and doing interviews, and although I didn't have a lot of confidence, the centre manager sort of pushed me in a nice way to do it. But I've been working for him now for nearly 6 years. I can give something back because Shore Start supported me through so many things. It just gets me a little bit. I don't know what I would have done without him in my life, so.
If Leeds as a city is to remain successful and to continue to grow in prosperity, it is essential that all of the citizens of Leeds are able to share at some level in the prosperity that's there for all to see outside. And that's why the whole strategy is absolutely crucial. The strategy was begun by the previous Labour administration and enthusiastically embraced 2.5 years ago by the Conservative, Liberal Democrat and Green joint administration that currently runs the city. We all regard it, all political parties regard the strategy as crucial to meeting one of our key objectives in our strategic vision. We've engaged our public sector partners very well indeed, and I'm pleased to say we're now engaging more widely with our private sector partners. I want to see that extended, and I want to see all our private sector partners actually giving us increased support, because as I say, on our own there's only a limited amount we can achieve.
The Financial Inclusion Project has its origins in early 2003, when discussions with Leeds City Credit Union identified problems with high-interest loans from doorstep lenders. Research was undertaken during 2004, which was finally published in December of that year. The research included a resident survey of 410 households. The more deprived areas of the city were selected for the survey sample, and neighbourhoods with high levels of benefit claimants were targeted. Interviewers were given quotas to ensure that the sample interviewed was reflective of the population in these areas in terms of gender and ethnic origin. There was a high worklessness concentration in these areas. The survey found a low utilisation of bank accounts by residents. 40% of the sample said that they kept their savings in cash in a jar, or relatives looked after it for them. Of those who borrowed, 15% used doorstep lenders. However, 38% of single parents who borrowed used this source. A fifth of those who borrowed used the money to pay off other debts or for day-to-day living. The research identified needs which came under 3 broad headings: affordable credit, more debt advice, and better financial literacy. The underlying need was for services to be locally provided and integrated. Leeds City Credit Union has now developed from its origins as a council credit union in 1987, and is now the largest live and work credit union in England and Wales, with membership open to all who live and work in Leeds. In 2005, the council and the credit union started to develop the most ambitious project so far, the expansion of the credit union branch network across the city. The plan will see the LCCU network increased from 2 to 16 branches by 2008, with further expansion beyond. Most of the new branches are based in the more deprived areas of the city. One such area is Beeston and Holbeck in the south of Leeds, where the Dewsbury Road branch was officially opened in the council's one-stop centre by Hilary Benn MP on the 1st of September 2006.
And it gives me very, very great pleasure formally to declare the Dewsbury Road Leeds City Credit Union office well and truly open.
I know of no other local authority that has had the foresight to partner up with a community-based organisation in this way.
My name is Tuel Mia. I'm a community development worker and I live in Beeston. I think the opening of the credit union in Beeston is going to be extremely good for the local community, who are very much disadvantaged in many ways. They have a lot of issues, they have a lot of financial problems, and it will also give them the opportunity to come and save at a local venue which is very close to them. Not only that, because this is the one-stop centre, they would be able to come and do other things like pay for their council tax, their rent and so forth, and this would give them the opportunity to at the same time put money and take money out.
The latest initiative, the Credit Union Handy Loan, was officially launched in September 2006 and provides affordable credit to those who would not normally have access to mainstream credit and who rely on high-interest doorstep lenders. New credit union current accounts were launched in December 2006. The combination of accessible new branch outlets and newly designed financial products will provide services to many people who've previously been unable to obtain affordable banking services. During 2005, the city secured £4 million in extra funding, mainly through the Treasury's Financial Inclusion Fund. This is considered to be a sign of confidence in the city's ability to deliver positive outcomes.
Leeds COB is city-wide, but other partners work in specific local areas or with specific client groups, for example, people with mental health problems or people who are homeless. So working in partnerships means that we're able to reach a more diverse range of clients than any one group individually, and basically increase our capacity, have a greater capacity to help people. We estimated through the financial inclusion research that was done back in 2003-04 that there are about 25,000 individuals in Leeds in need of debt advice. And through the work that we did in the partnership, we estimate that we had the capacity to help about 10% of those people who are actually needing debt advice. So through the Financial Inclusion Fund, increasing capacity through that means that we're now able to see getting on for a third of those people. So between us, again, as partners, we're focusing on those areas which have the greatest levels of deprivation in the city. That work really has been enabled through the Financial Inclusion Steering Group. That's what brought us together initially. It's meant that we've come together as advice agencies, but also that we're working with people like the council, with other public sector partners like the primary care trusts, and also with the private sector, with people like Yorkshire Water and Yorkshire Building Society getting involved in the partnership as well. So that's our objectives for the future, is really to keep this work going, to build on it. We've got a great partnership in place. I think there's real potential there for how we can develop that for the future.
To address the issue of undercapacity, the council and partners are continuing an initiative to provide debt and money advice training to frontline staff. This has been particularly valuable, and it is hoped that this can be expanded to other partners around the city. For example, registered social landlords and PCTs.